Hi, and welcome back to this week's Self-Love Masterclass, where each week I teach you how to develop the self-worth, self-esteem, and inner wisdom to create a life that you love. Today I'm talking to you all about gratitude, and specifically how gratitude can improve your life and the many ways that you can work on gratitude to make it more a part of your life. There are a ton of studies out there right now that show that gratitude isn't something that happens to us. Gratitude is actually a way of mind, something that we need to generate and cultivate for ourselves. The other thing that I think is really cool is all of the new research in the area of positive psychology that is showing us that gratitude has all kinds of health benefits, not just physical benefits, but also emotional and psychological benefits, and that people who practice being grateful tend to be happier. Okay, so here's what I think is really cool, is that more and more as we're studying this idea of gratitude in the area of positive psychology, we're realizing that gratitude isn't just this airy-fairy hippie thing that people do, but that it actually has a ton of health benefits. People who are more grateful tend to be happier and less depressed. If you take on some of the tips that I'm going to share with you later, you'll notice that the amount of depression that you may experience after a situation will decrease, or even just that you may be happier in your day-to-day life. The other thing that we know is that people who practice gratitude, they tend to be less aggressive and more empathetic. This means less fighting with your spouse, less fighting with your partner, less fighting with your children or people that you work with. There's also another really awesome benefit. It helps us to win friends. Now, I know that this sounds strange, but consider it this way, or look at it this way. People who say thank you and people who tend to acknowledge other people are considered nice or courteous, grateful people. And people want to hang out with people who tend to be grateful and people who acknowledge other people for the things that they do in their lives. But if none of those things appeal to you, at the very least, I think that every single one of us wants to be happier, and that's what the studies are showing to us, as I mentioned before, is that people who are grateful and people who practice being grateful lead happier and more fulfilled lives. Here's another really cool fact about gratitude, and part of the reason why I felt it was an important self-love lesson for us for this week. There's a lot of research that's actually coming out that shows that people who practice being grateful tend to have a higher self-esteem. And here's why. When we're practicing being grateful, we tend to compare ourselves less to other people. And when we compare ourselves less to other people, we tend to be more empathetic and actually see that there's not that much difference between ourselves and other people. And so, what happens when we feel like we're more alike and like we belong and like, the situations or things that we experience in life are just the same as other people? Well, it boosts our self-esteem. It also boosts our self-confidence. So without further ado, what I want to do right now is jump into the tips that I have for you on how you can cultivate gratitude yourself in the comfort of your own home. Tip number 1 is shift your focus. What I like to do is, if I'm feeling not like myself, or if I'm not feeling as optimistic as I'd like to, or as empowered as I'd like to, I ask myself this question: what am I paying attention to right now? What am I focusing on right now? Sometimes there are bigger issues and they need to be worked out or teased out a little bit more. And if you find yourself in that situation, then you can definitely book a session with me or speak with a therapist or a counselor. But a lot of the time, it just happens to be that we've pulled ourselves into a downward spiral. And simply by shifting our focus to what am I grateful for, or what is working really well right now, you will see gratitude start to increase and your mood start to shift. Okay, this is the next tip, and it's easily one of my favorites. I like to call it noticing the saves. Here's an example. You spill water all over the table, but it doesn't spill all over your computer. What can you say to yourself in this situation? You can say, I know I just spilled this water and it's annoying, but I'm so grateful that it didn't spill all over my computer and ruin my computer, because then I would have had to buy a whole new computer and that would totally suck, right? And you really can find saves everywhere. These are small things happening in the home. You can also find really big saves like, thank goodness I didn't catch that flight, because then I wouldn't have met the love of my life. There are all kinds of saves everywhere, so pay attention to them and you will notice a big difference. Another one that's really useful, and I find one of the best times to apply this is just before bed, or if you find yourself in a really stressful situation and you need to, pull yourself together very quickly, you can just close your eyes and just silently make a mental checklist of the things that you're grateful for in your life. And it can be really big things and things that have been around in your life for a long time. Maybe it's your partner, maybe it's your mom and your dad, maybe it's, a book that you read or a gift that you were given. Everyone has something that they can be grateful for, something that has either happened to them in their past, is happening right now, or could potentially happen. So pull to those moments when you find yourself feeling extremely overwhelmed, stressed, and like you need a minute, Another one that a lot of my clients like to use is a gratitude journal. I know that this is something that Oprah Winfrey talked about, I think many years ago, maybe even a decade ago, if you can believe it. And there are other spiritual teachers or therapists who also recommend this. If you love to journal and you love to write, like the actual visceral experience of doing that, then I really recommend a journal for you, because it really allows you to throw yourself completely into the experience of being. Of course, if journal writing is not your thing, you can do this on your iPad or your smartphone, and that also works too. And the very last tip that I want to offer you is to really pay attention to your language. And what I mean by that is the way that you speak. Specifically, I can't remember who said this. I think it might have been Maya Angelou, I'm not sure. But it's the idea that anything that you put after I, you become. So I'm going to say this one more time, because this is like a huge nugget of gold right here. Whatever you put after I, you become. So you want to be mindful not to say things like I suck, or I'm never going to get this, or I'm worthless, or I'm exhausted. And it's not to take away the way that you're feeling. Remember, we want to be authentic, which is a huge part of self-love and developing self-worth and self-esteem and inner wisdom, is being true to our feelings. And it's possible to say these things in another way that actually brings us to a state that is higher than where we are, or certainly is more in alignment with where we're going and what we're actually creating. Now, if you need a little bit of help with this, then definitely, message me and let's work on it together. Because honestly, guys, I try to do everything in a video, but sometimes you need the one-on-one time. It has been such a pleasure to do this video for you. Thank you for all of you who are new to this channel and watching for the first time, as well as everybody who comes out here every single week to be a part of the self-love movement. I'm gonna ask you to do something. Actually, I'm gonna ask you to do a few things. If you aren't already following me on Instagram, come and follow me over there. I post there almost daily, and we've got over 7,000 followers, and all of my posts there are in alignment with boosting self-worth and self-esteem and inner wisdom and confidence and all of that good stuff. Also, if you are following me on Instagram, remember that Instagram is changing things, so you might not always see my posts. If you want to guarantee that you see them, then what you'll need to do is turn on post notifications on Instagram, okay? What else do I want to say? Oh yeah, did you like this video? If you did, then please give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends and family. Let's really, cause a shift and have people feel really good about themselves. And that's what this video is about. Remembering that you are far more awesome than you remember sometimes. And yes, we all need reminders sometimes. Last but not least, if you're not already subscribed, do that. You can click the little button up here or down here. I'm not sure where it is. It depends on what device you're on. Self-Love Masterclass comes out every single Tuesday. Sometimes I release them a little early, but they come out once a week, okay? And it's just great to be here with you all. So on that note, I think that's everything that I wanted to cover, and I will see you all for the next video. Mwah. There is one thing that I didn't say in the full video that I wanted to mention, and that is if you're dealing with feeling sorry for yourself, or you have a friend who's feeling sorry for themselves, they're having a tough time coping with something or getting through something, gratitude is really helpful. Of course, you want to be respectful and you want to be mindful and you want to be sensitive to where they are in their grieving process or their acceptance of whatever is happening in their life. And if it's you that's going through this, you want to be sensitive about your own grieving process and where you are. But definitely gratitude helps to break people out of any feeling like a victim or just really feeling very sorry for themselves. Of course, if something is lasting for longer than a span of, 2-3 weeks, maybe even 4 weeks, then it's probably a good idea to have yourself or the person in your life just talk to someone, because talking is always so helpful at that stage of the game. Alright, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this bonus footage, and I will see you for the next video. Mwah.